If you thought the Toronto WTA draw was crazy, you'll be in a rude awakening for Cincinnati. I'm going to break down all the madness, including all the first round popcorn matches, before predicting who I believe will win the Western and Southern Open title here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today. World number 1 Iga Swiatek could open against Sloane Stephens before playing 16th seed Jelena Ostapenko in round 3, Garbine Muguruza in the quarters, Paula Badosa in the semis, and Anett Kontaveit in the finals. Iga's draw actually looks like it's the hardest in the earlier few rounds. As I mentioned, Sloane is a possible opponent in the second round, but so is Alizé Cornet, the woman who ended the polls winning streak at Wimbledon. You really never know what you're going to get from Sloane, whereas with Cornet, she's far steadier and even keel. I don't really know how this matchup will play out, but I will go ahead and have Stephens coming through, mainly based on home court advantage and hopes of her game trending in the right direction. Should Sloane and Iga play, I'm going with the world number 1 to make the third round because Sloane typically fares worse against higher top opponents. But if Alizé happens to make it through, I feel like it'd be more of an upset alert. Looking down, another American, Madison Keys, is there, and she'll play Yulia Putintseva, who made the quarters of Toronto. The winner of this match gets the winner of Ostapenko and Beatriz Haddad Maia. Haddad Maia is currently having the best tournament of her career thus far, upsetting Swiatek en route to her first 1000 semifinal in Toronto. Jelena, meanwhile, has had mid results lately due to her losing matches that she has no business losing. The further Haddad Maia makes it in Toronto, the more I favor Ostapenko here, and right now, I will go ahead and have the Latvia moving through that first round. I think Keys and Ostapenko will play one another, and I will have the 16th seed making it through the third round. Now, should Ostapenko make it to the third round, she will be decently favored to beat Iga, as she's never lost to her. Swiatek's certainly not playing her best tennis at the moment, and actually played probably the worst match that I've ever seen her play against Haddad Maia. The confidence definitely isn't the same with the Polish woman, and because of that, for the first time in a while, I don't have her making it out of the quarterfinals. However, I do believe that her losing so closely to Haddad Maia and then Haddad Maia going ahead and making the semifinals is a positive thing that she can take solace in. So maybe she'll play better in Cincinnati. I know there's a high ceiling for her to go from Toronto to anything else. Meanwhile, I think Wimbledon champion Emma Raducanu will end up making the semifinals here. She doesn't have necessarily the easiest draw considering her pedigree, as she first placed Muguruza in round 2 before likely Coco Gauff again in the third. Muguruza is the 8th seed and a great player, but with how she's been playing this season, she should be ranked 80th. I think Coco will make it through her first 2 rounds and meet Emma Raducanu, but this time I have the Kazakhstanian getting revenge and getting through those next few matches. 3rd seed Paula Badosa will play a qualifier in the second round before potentially playing Simona Halep in round 3, Ons Jabeur in the quarters, Iga in the semis, and Kontaveit in the finals. Even though she's the highest seed here, Paula is not one of my first choices to make it out of this section. Her body can barely hold up for 2 matches in a row, and honestly, her presence as the top 4 seed annoys me. Current Toronto finalist Simona Halep is there, but I am going to have San Jose semifinalist Veronika Kudermetova progress through there instead. Simo's playing well, but with her injury proneness and heat exhaustion concerns, I'm not as confident about her ability to bounce back from tournament to tournament week after week. Looking down, Belinda Bencic and Ons Jabeur are on path to meet in the third round, and I believe they will. Bencic doesn't have the easiest draw, first playing Kyrgyzstan before Teichmann or Kvitova, but I think that she'll move through nonetheless. Jabeur, meanwhile, has a far easier road to the third round, and normally I'd have her progress to the quarterfinals because of this. However, Ons is a bit of a concern physically, as she had to retire mid-match from Toronto due to an abdominal injury. I also feel like the Tunisian is still suffering mentally from the Wimbledon finals loss, which of course plays a big role. I was very impressed by Bencic's level in Toronto, especially in her first few matches. I think if she can carry that same form to Ohio, she can go pretty far. I am going to go ahead and have her make the semifinals here. Fourth seed Maria Sakkari could first play Alison van Onfink before meeting Karolina Pliskova in the third round, Jessica Pegula in the quarters, Kontaveit in the semis, then Swiatek in the finals. The top of this section is loaded with big names. First there's Bianca Andreescu, who has an interesting first round affair with the unpredictable Camila Giorgi. Both Bibi and Camila made the third round in Canada, playing solid tennis, and to be honest, the Italian really should have made the semifinals had she been a little bit more consistent. I do believe Bianca will win this match before falling to Jessica Pegula in the second round. Pegula is playing very well at the moment, coming off a semifinal showing in Toronto, which she really should have won. I feel like this match with Andreescu would be close, but like their Madrid match showed us, I believe the American is too solid and more match tough at the moment than the Canadian, who still appears to be dealing with a few injury ailments. Meanwhile, Serena Williams, on the verge of retirement, faces reigning US Open champion Emma Raducanu in round 1. A lot of people were saying that the tournament rigged this matchup to garner more attention to the event, and to be honest, I wouldn't doubt those conspiracies. Neither Emma nor Serena have been playing their best tennis lately, as first Raducanu has struggled all season with stringing together match wins. She has been hindered by injuries as her body is still struggling to hold up after longer play. Serena meanwhile has only played 3 singles matches all season and still really isn't match fit. Williams played decent in Toronto, but her subpar returning and average serving was just not good enough to challenge Bencic. I'm honestly really annoyed with Serena and her team because I feel like with this being her final go at tennis as a whole, everything should be on point. As I just mentioned, the return has been an issue, large in part due to her crowding the baseline and not giving herself enough time to read the incoming serve. Also, her first set movement isn't that great, which I feel like is because of those terrible vapor shoes she's been wearing lately. Anyways, back to this matchup, I feel like it will be a bit of a grind for both players. Despite what many critics say, Emma isn't a bad player by any stretch. She's just not top tier at the moment. I say that she plays about top 40 level tennis, which is honestly good enough to beat Serena at this stage. Emma is fairly consistent and is a good mover, so she'll definitely make Serena play a lot of balls. I think this could honestly be a good matchup for Serena though, because she won't be put under as much pressure like she was against Bencic, and she'll have more of an opportunity to hone in on her ground game. If Emma is going to win this match, she has to have a good start because Serena typically gets better as matches wear on, whereas Raducanu's kind of the opposite. The Brit is prone to getting broken down physically as things go on longer, and I'd actually favor the 40-year-old should things go deep. Serena will have to step up and be aggressive here like many opponents of Emma's have done. I feel like this will be a tight one because, as I said, Raducanu is no pushover and could definitely rise to the occasion here. Still, I will go ahead and have Serena move through to make the second round. Williams is also my pick to make it past either Kanepi or Azarenka, but I think that she might be a bit wore out physically should she reach the third round, so I have Pegula advancing there. Looking down, the elder Williams, Venus, has a tricky opening round match playing Karolina Pliskova. Venus and Karolina have always had tough matches in the past, but I am going with the Czech woman here, even though she is still alive in Toronto and might be facing some fatigue when she arrives in Ohio. Venus played well in DC, but she appears to have picked up some type of shoulder or elbow injury as her serve looked very off in Toronto. She did play extremely late that day too, so that's something to consider, but regardless, I don't see her pushing Pliskova a whole lot here. Meanwhile, 4th seed Maria Sakkari is likely to face the Czech woman in the third round for the second straight week. This time I'm having the Greek woman prevail as she'll be far more rested for the occasion. For the occasion, I feel. I'm also having Maria progress to the semifinals. I don't have a bunch of confidence in the 4th seed despite her being the highest ranked woman here, but she's been talking about how she's been getting better week by week, so I'll take her word for it here. Lastly, 2nd seed Anett Kontaveit will play a qualifier first before potentially meeting Leylah Fernandez in round 3, Aryna Sabalenka in the quarters, Sakkari in the semis, and Swiatek in the finals. Looking at the top with Sabalenka, she's very likely to meet an American in the third round, as Kenin, Rogers, and Anisimova are all in that little mini section. Shelby will be the favorite against Sonia, but the 2020 Aussie Open champ seems to be regaining that form, judging from her near comeback win over Sloane Stephens in Canada. I will still go with Rogers, who is far more match tough, making the San Jose finals last week. Now, San Jose champion Daria Kasatkina opens against Amanda Anisimova, who had a poor Toronto showing, getting crushed 1-1 by Pliskova. I do have faith that she'll redeem herself here, and thus I pick her beating Daria before losing once again to Shelby. Then I have Rogers ousting the double fault fiend Sabalenka to make the quarterfinals. The bottom part of this section is a mess. We have Leylah Fernandez, who's still trying to find form after her foot injury, Naomi Osaka, who's apparently dealing with a back injury which forced her to retire mid-match in Toronto, then second seed Anett Kontaveit, who's been in poor form the last 5 months or so. Ekaterina Alexandrova is also a good player, but she hasn't played since Berlin, so we don't know much about her form. Naomi honestly should come through here and win this entire section, but I'm not sure if her game and confidence is there, to be honest. Shuai Zheng hasn't been playing well lately, so the Japanese woman should move through there, where she'll be keen on getting revenge over Leylah Fernandez. I think she'll do just that and ultimately make it through to the quarterfinals, where I have her beating Shelby Rogers. By the way, I do feel like we need to watch out for those qualifying spots, as Caroline Garcia and Marie Boskova, for example, can definitely do some damage there. For my predictions, I have Raducanu and Bencic with Belinda making the finals. Then there's Sakkari and Osaka, with Maria advancing to the final. Lastly, in the championships, I'm going with the Swiss player. Iga and Ons are the biggest snubs in the top half, but I feel like my reasons for leaving them out were valid. However, I wouldn't be surprised to see either of them go deeper. I could also see Pegula, Pliskova, Andreescu, and Serena take Maria's place in that third slot, but I'm going to stay with my pick for now. Then Sabalenka, Anisimova, Kasatkina, Fernandez, and even the qualifiers could take Naomi's place, but I have confidence that she'll see the light in this advantageous draw and play better tennis. I was actually close to having Sakkari take this title, but then I remembered her choking tendencies and the fact that her lone title is a 250. Bencic winning is a bit of a gamble because, like I mentioned earlier, her draw is not easy, but I believe she can handle the challenge. Before I close out this video, here's a list of all my top first round popcorn matches. That's all for my Cincy Women's Tournament preview, and let me know what you think about the draw and my predictions in the comment section below. Do you think Bencic and Sakkari are good picks? If not, who do you think would be in the finals and ultimately win it all? Also, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post new content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.